Hi, folks. Welcome to the program, All About Cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center, located on Church Street, 867 Church Street in North End of New Bedford. We're just off of Exit 5 off of Route 140. Very easy to get to if you're living in the suburbs. Not a traffic light or a stop sign. If you get on 140, whether you're coming from the north or the south, take the Exit 5, Church Street, Phillips Road exit, turn onto Church Street. We're just a half mile down on the right-hand side, right after Regal House, Furniture, and Web Plumbing and Heating, Dollar General, right beside those businesses. And we're the next one down, directly opposite of New Bedford Vocational's faculty and service entrance, the Church Street side, because they have two entrances. Now you can ring us up here, give us a call. If you have any questions about automobiles, whatever's bugging you this week, 9960-500, 9960-500. And today is a good day to go look for cars or talk about cars if you're in the market. And Andrew's not at the showroom today, but my brother David is. And you can go by and talk to him and tell him what you're looking for, or just see what he's got there now that may interest you. Or if you're starting in the early stages of planning and you're asking questions. Smart shoppers do their homework first, and they kind of get an idea of the market. And we don't pressure you. You can come by and talk to us. We're not going to hold you hostage. We don't have German shepherds there, ready to put you in a corner till you buy something. A lot of places you go, people feel intimidated. We don't do business that way. We know a lot of outfits out there kind of do that. They make it difficult sometimes in, sharing information with you. And they want you to buy now. They just, that's the way they operate. We don't do it that way. You go out there and look at it. We compete in the marketplace, and the marketplace is the marketplace. So we earned your goodwill and confidence. So, and we do help you get to the finish line. It's good to plan, and especially if you're trying to go to the markets for credit these days. It's a little different ball game. There's a little more diligence done, and it's important to plan. Okay, we tell people that, plan. If you plan, it comes out more in your favor. Other people go in and they get excited and they get done, and they end up with payments usually that they can't afford. And 6 months to a year later, at the most, they want to get out or change cars, and they dig themselves deeper and deeper in a hole. So it's wise to plan. It's wise to just do your homework and talk to people who've been around in the business for many, many years. And, we just, we're not out there to beat you up and just give you good advice. We've got a caller here. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Ralphie.
Billy, you're early.
Yeah, I'm early.
Oh, you're early today.
Can't do nothing outside, my brother.
Yeah, you got a point there, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So I saw the line flashing, so I picked
What's the
it up.
happenings?
No, we're just working hard, trying to, get cars ready and help people find solutions to their problems, mechanical and otherwise. We're always dealing with problems. Nothing's easy today. Everything is a problem, especially fixing cars. And the guys out there who fix cars know what I'm talking about, whether you're working on computers or mechanical aspects, transmissions, you name it. It's always something giving you...
Yeah, but you know what? About your garage, Ralphie?
Yeah.
Is you still the backyard mechanic? You still have to fool around with some of them crazy switches.
Yeah. Switches? What kind of switches?
Well, a crazy Cadillac switch or some other switch. I mean, you're still a backyard mechanic. A computer ain't going to tell you nothing about it.
Yeah. No.
Still have that experience of the old 50s backyard mechanic.
Yeah. Well, they knew how to fix cars, though. They had an understanding, an intrusive understanding of how machines are, or anything. I can remember, Billy, many, many years ago, Maurice Leclerc was a teacher at New Bedford Vocational, taught automotive-related sciences. And he used to drill in us, and he said, you guys want to be mechanics. But he says, but mechanic means you can fix anything. If I give you a watch, you can fix it. If I give you a toaster, you can fix it. And he always pounded that in us. It's just the understanding of the machine. Mm-hmm. And he was right. Those old guys, they had a grip on it. But a lot of those guys too were World War II vets, Korean vets.
Yeah.
They've seen a lot, did a lot, accomplished a lot. And,
They had to improvise some of the machines when they broke down. They can't just say, well, let's stop right now because we can't fix it. Sometimes you have to fix it, keep going, or get out of the way.
What, you mean in a combat situation?
Yeah.
War? Or get your butt shot off.
That's what I'm saying. So you gotta, you know.
Yeah, I guess so.
To get your damn truck or whatever you got, let's get going. Put baling wire, whatever we got to do.
Especially like, you know, the chief engineer on a naval vessel.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Those guys there, or a sub, keep those babies in action. I mean, just the boilers alone to keep them up and running. You kidding me? The work.
I'd have to have some knowledge, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable when you think about it. You know, I went on board the Salem, the SS Salem, which is up in the Quincy.
Oh, in Quincy. Oh, not the one in Fall River.
No, this is in the Quincy shipyard.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they're supposed to move it. Or if they don't find a home for it, it'll probably end up being scrapped, which would be a tragedy. I don't think Fall River can take it if they have the room for it, but it's in marvelous shape, Billy. It's worth anyone out there listening, if you're kind of into old ships and vessels, to go on board that destroyer. And it's in remarkably good shape. It hasn't been, you know, there hasn't been 200 million people, you know, crawling all over it, so it's pretty much in original condition.
And, that'd be a nice addition to Fall River if they could grab it.
Yeah, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good-sized vessel. I don't have the specs in my head. My kids took me there last, I don't know if it was Father's Day, or we went out there and we went through the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say go through the ship, when you're with my kids, you go through the ship. So, those guys, but it's just to see all the plumbing and fittings and boilers and valves and this and that, and to make those ships run. And of course, it burned bunker, right? So,
yeah.
It took a lot of manpower to keep them up and running. So, and today it's a lot more automated, but, you know, as automated as things get, there's still the mechanical aspects.
Still the same old, you got to get down there and get your hands in there.
When you're running, you know, when you're trying to keep the power going. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, the technology's improved for sure, and you get a lot of computers. But, you know, it's the way it is, Billy. It's, and I don't know if we're developing enough.
You know what you say? What goes around comes around, Ralph.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
Tell me something now.
Yeah.
Do you got a new vehicle, something I would like? You bring in?
Luxury stuff, actually low. I've got a nice lady looking for a newer Cadillac we're starting to look for.
Oh.
All these the new XLR and all these different letters they use now.
Explain them to me. What do they mean?
Oh, I honestly,
I know what mine means, but what do they mean?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. My brother David would have the answer because he was a caddy dealer.
Oh, yeah.
I come from a Chrysler lineage and Jeep and foreign. But my brother David and Mark were more into Chevy, Cadillac, Philip, and Oldsmobile. When Oldsmobile, before Oldsmobile was shot down. But, you know, I know you haven't. You should drive one of these Jeeps. I have a 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland in ruby red. Absolutely beautiful rig. That's a nice ride.
Four-wheel drive or two?
Oh no, that's four.
Four, okay.
No, that lady's. It's bombed out loaded. The Overland is a bombed out loaded rig. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean everything's in it. Okay. It's if you write a check for one of those, you get it all. It's kind of like a Grand Wagoneer.
Gotta have deep pockets for that one, huh?
Well, if you buy one new, it's a little steep, yeah. Yeah, especially if you're going to pay raise in the last.
For you, we get a break.
Well, you say, yeah. No. If you're buying a new one, you haven't gotten a pay raise under Obama in the last 7-8 years. So,
you're right.
You know, at least the folks in the private sector, but, you know, it's Jeep's north of 50 grand new. And this one here is remarkable good condition. It can be bought for under 23. And that's a good ride. You should check it out if you're up in the shop. Come up.
Yeah, I'm up there all the time.
Yeah.
But whatever happened to that van and that other one we brought in?
The 15-passenger van?
Yeah.
The 15-passenger van, I believe, got sold.
Oh, it's gone. That was
I mean, that's a pretty
really excellent shape, boy.
Yeah, that you drove that.
I drove that. Excellent shape.
Yeah, that was
it's like driving a car. Just sit back there and they have all the toys. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they make they're like little commuter vans. They're nice rides. They're hard to find, Billy. A good one without a billion miles.
You know?
Huh?
In that kind of condition.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Without a billion miles on them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we've been bringing in the usual Subarus, which have been reliable.
How's that one we brought in?
Good. We're getting it ready. Yeah, getting it cleaned up. You saw that car too. We brought it. Well, that's right. You were there.
Halfway.
Yeah, I've got a. I had somebody look at the Dodge Maxi van we have, which is like a work truck. It's a van for a plumber, a carpenter, mason, so a tradesperson, with 41,000 miles on this 2003.
Not
it's
bad.
in good shape, yeah. And its price is under $8,500.
Hard to find them with low mileage, isn't it?
Very hard, and without being banged up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
If the guy's like a mason, a plumber, or something, a lot of heavy stuff in and out of them, they get banged up. This truck's not that case, and it's clean, low mileage, and it's priced right for somebody starting out or needs an extra rig on their business.
Yeah.
And it's a 3/4 ton, so it can take a little bit of load. Where the half tons will be bottoming them out, unless you're doing alarm systems and stuff like that, something light you can get by. But most of the other trades, they need at least a 3/4 ton to make it work, to get out there.
So,
and we got some other rigs, Billy. We've got brought in an absolutely gorgeous. Andrew brought in, there was a Jeep Patriot, which is like a little Commander.
Yeah, the small one, right?
It looks like a Jeep Commander, only it's shrunk. And it was a limited edition, and that was in a like a burgundy ruby red.
Oh, fancy colors.
Sunroof with a nice interior, and that went online, and a local school teacher bought it, and for his wife, and that is a smart looking. When I saw it, I said, "Whoa!" I was impressed. I didn't have much time to look at it. I'll be honest with you.
It was gone.
Yeah, it came in, went out.
That's good. If they're in good shape, low mileage.
Oh, the car was. You didn't see that one, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's too bad. That was a nice. Those Jeeps they're very difficult to find. Loaded up.
That one in the showroom, the black one.
The black Limited? No, the black Liberty.
Yeah, sitting in the showroom.
Yeah, they moved them around, so it was in the showroom.
There was one in there.
Yeah, we've got that. That's a Limited too. That's loaded.
Yes, I know. I looked at it. Yep.
A black 07 Liberty Limited Edition 4-wheel drive. Mileage is it's an 07 with 88,000 miles, very low mileage, priced at under 11. And that's the last of the real solid Jeeps. These new Jeeps are getting far more computerized. The newest editions, they're basically computers that run cars instead of cars with computers. And that's not just Jeep alone. I mean, they're all that way now. And it's the way it's going. It's even the new Jeep. They have that new Renegade, which is built by Fiat in Italy, and it's marketed as a Jeep over here. So things are changing fast in the auto industry.
I guess so.
All kinds of recalls too, Billy.
Yes, I've been seeing them too. Lots of them.
Yeah, I've been reading all week. I'm reading them now. They just starting to come out publicly. But got a nice Toyota Tacoma. Double cab, extra cab, V6 automatic. Those are difficult to find in good shape, clean, low mileage. They're a pricey truck, though, but they do build a good truck. Some people just swear by them. It's an 05, priced at under 18, 4x4. If you're looking for a Toyota Tacoma, that's a nice rig. And we have another Patriot Black, 70,000 miles, priced at under 11, a 2009, clean, a nice clean Dodge Dakota pickup, SLT Club Cab 4x4.
I seen that one there.
Yeah, that's clean truck for under 10 grand. That's a nice truck for somebody who wants a nice rig without going, spending a lot of
that Silverado that was there.
The Silverado, I think.
Yeah, with extended cab.
I think that got sold. We had another. Was that the white one, Billy?
No, it was like a pewter color.
I think that's on the road.
That's gone, huh?
Yeah, I think that's on the road, Billy.
I know it's sitting way on the end of the up in the back towards the.
Yeah, I think that's gone. And we had the white Silverado too, and that's also gone. So, but what's the get? We had that clean little PT limited edition that's sold.
Oh yeah, I seen that one there.
That was a nice ride. That's a nice ride. Roomy. And they're getting hard to find, too, clean, low mileage.
Yeah, I don't make them no more.
No. A lot of cars, they're short cycling them out now. The industry's changing so fast.
Yeah.
Everything's going to this new... we got a couple of nice Kia Souls, though. If anyone out there likes... Kias seem to be popular in the greater New Bedford area. the little Kia Soul. Kind of looks like an SUV. These are front drives, though. They don't build it in all-wheel drive. But they're roomy. They're kind of like a hatchback, if you will, a high-top hatchback, for lack of better terminology. And we've got a couple of those. We've got one here, 2013, with 46,000 miles, priced at under 12. They're priced right. And I know when people you shop around, you're going to see these prices are on the money. And they're ready to go.
Well, I'll tell you something. When you go up there to the auction, boy, you really got to be careful and pick out good stuff because I see some tough stuff there that you're trying to sell.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff there is rough. We try to weed
out the good ones.
Yeah, we do buy from auctions, but we buy from dealers. We buy from people. We get sources all over the place. Auctions, you have to be extremely cautious because sometimes, very often, people take the cars that are giving them problems there to get off them, and they don't have to deal with a retail customer. And the laws involved. When it goes commercial, it's your problem, not mine anymore. You know what I mean? There's less recourse.
Right.
So a lot of dealers just get off their problems to other dealers and have a nice day. So you have to be very knowledgeable when you do these things because the same laws don't apply. I mean, there are some basic rules, of course. If you have a vehicle that's frame damage or a flood, you have to declare certain things, and even in commercial transactions. In a retail transaction, these things have to be declared or should be declared. But everybody thinks, you just, I've been at it a long time, and sometimes you get burned, right? It's just story.
Yeah, you can't win them all sometimes. Once in a while you get things burnt.
Sometimes the average, somebody's Johnny-come-latelys in the business for 3 to 5 years, they think they know it all, and they take a few punches in the ring, they learn real quick.
You're right.
And then the consumer, forget it. They think they're, when I hear people say, well, my friend's going to take me to the auction, well, good luck. And they usually, they find out that, they had a nail gun there, and they got nailed to the wall with problems. So that's life, Billy. That's the way it goes. You get what you pay for.
We all know.
You get what you pay for. There's no...
Yeah.
Didn't your mother tell you that? You always get what you pay for. So.
That's right. So, you want to pay cheap? You're going to get cheap.
When it comes to, what we pay for, when you look at what we're paying for, and sometimes in your taxes you might question it, but you get what you pay for. But,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so...
Well, all right, here's a good one for you.
Okay, let's go.
Dodge.
Oh,
D100.
All right, D100.
Swept side.
D100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fleet side, swept side, whatever you want to call it.
100.
D100.
Step side or fleet side?
Swept side, it says here. Swept side.
All right, so step side, like the farmer's truck.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, like a farmer's truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
They started making this vehicle in 1961. But it didn't run that long. Do you have any idea how long this truck ran in that particular model?
So this was just a regular cab, step-side truck, cab. So that it had fender wells in the back where the fenders would cover the tires, like the old...
No. This is swept side. She's straight right across the back.
Oh, so it's like the Chevy fleet sides.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It'd be like a fleet side, nice sweeping line.
They call this one swept side, swept line.
All right.
Okay.
All right. How much? Geez. Okay.
And they started this model in '61.
Wow. The D100s. They didn't. How long did they run it for?
Yeah. This particular model.
Well, I don't know the name of that model other than the fact it's a D100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they ran D100s for a while, Billy.
Yeah, but this particular model ran so many years. Unbelievable.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they ran the D100s.
Oh, yeah. They ran the 80s.
They ran those,
I know that.
Yeah, they ran them into the 80s.
Yeah, but this particular model here, the swept line, only went for a number of years.
Really? Well, they started in 61?
Started in 61.
They probably, well, let's see, when did they kill it off? Like 66?
No.
No?
No.
Ran it longer?
Would you say 66?
Yeah. Oh, they run it?
Yeah, it went longer.
Well, they ran a D100. See, I don't know what... They probably, like... I remember they were all through the 70s, 71, 75.
Well, you did 71. That was a 10-year model.
10-year model? Okay.
Yeah, that was all it was.
And that was like a, they had the slant sixes in them.
I was just going to ask you about the slant six.
Yep, they ran it in that. I remember that.
Yep.
That was the base engine.
Yep, but there was two cubic-inch engines in that.
Yeah, they made they put a 318. No.
Yeah, 318. But I'm talking about the slant six, not the slant six. There was two of them.
Yeah, they made two size.
Yeah, two sizes, right?
Yeah, 241 or 261. I forget what the hell it was. I mean, so many years ago, but two. Yeah, they had two size slant sixes.
They had two size slant sixes. Yeah, exactly.
One was just punched out.
Right. With steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it needed more torque for a truck, versus a little Valiant, let's say, a Plymouth Valiant or a Dodge Dart, right?
Yeah, but they use both of these in the truck.
Yeah.
Until they come out with a 318.
Well, you want an idea on the cubic size of them?
Yeah.
I think they're like probably like a 241 and like a 265 or 268, some kind of.
Well, you're in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember
Well, the light one was a 270.
The small one was a 270?
Yep. And the standard one was 225.
Okay. Oh, so the small one. All right, yeah. So a all right, I was close, yeah.
Yeah, I said you were close.
270, I think that's surprisingly good size 6, yeah. That's a good size 6, a 270, Billy.
I know that. And then you come up with a 225. Which I had that one in my Slant 685 Dodge truck.
Yeah.
That's what I had in it, Slant 6.
Yeah.
It'd run forever. The body would fall apart, but the engine would keep going.
Yeah, they had a starting on them that you couldn't forget, huh? Every time they cranked with that low gear starter on it.
Yep.
You wouldn't forget the crank of a Slant 6 when you heard it cranking.
And when you open the end, and when you open the hood, and you look at it, it looks funny being all on a slant.
Yeah.
You know?
You know who else made a Slant 4-cylinder?
Who's that?
It was a GM. That's a
GM?
trivia question, yeah. That's a good one for the audience. They made a Slant 4-cylinder.
4-cylinder.
And they ran it from the early 60s. Didn't last long, though. It was a 4-banger.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how they made that 4-banger, don't you? Why it was a slant, let's put it that way.
Well, your pistons was off center.
Yeah, but where did they get the block from?
Where they get the block from?
Yeah. Why was a slant 4?
I wouldn't know in a slant 4.
Well, they took a V8 and cut it in half.
Well, but yeah.
Kind of like what Scout International did with their 4-cylinder. They had a 4-banger Scout.
Right,
slant,
I remember them.
Remember the slant 4?
Yep. Yeah. I remember the Scouts, yes.
And they ran a slant 4 in it. They took their V8 and they basically cut the block in half. They had the castings right there. And Pontiac did that in their little Tempest.
Oh, Tempest.
Remember that? With a slant 4 Pontiac
That's long
Tempest?
gone. Wow.
Yeah. And they had independent rear suspension, which was radical for the time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, for that time, you're right.
And they had a slant 4. I never forgot. We were young guys, full of hell, and piss and vinegar, and we used to do rat racing. And I had a VW Bug. I used to work on those at night. That's how I learned foreign cars. And we used to go down to Horse Neck Beach there before the summer began, of course.
We all did that.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Yeah. And we'd rat race down there. And then this fella, Bob Lewis, New Bedford kid, grew up with us in the neighborhood in the West End. He had a Pontiac Tempest. So I used to take the, Jesus, probably get arrested now when I say this, but we used to take, you'd be some cars going to the beach, run along the beach with our cars.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd run along the beach, and Lewis came after us, and I had my Bug, and the Bugs were pretty good in the sand. They made dune buggies out of them, right? They
did.
The dune buggies was based on a Volkswagen chassis without the body, of course. They put a light fiberglass body.
Yeah, right.
So the little VW, though, was pretty good in the sand, like it was in the snow. Mm-hmm. So that little Kraut machine would blast along the sand, and we'd go through the dunes. And no, we did not hit any piper plovers and run over any rare species of seaweed, which today you'd have an inquisition. And I never forgot, I go between two dunes, and Bob Lewis chases me, and he's on me. And all I said, I look, he's not in my rearview mirror. I stop, I back up. Where the hell's Bobby? And I look, he can't get out of his car. He's caught between two sand dunes. His doors were... He jumped between two dunes, and he was crushed between the... He couldn't open his doors. I got out. I almost, peed my pants there looking at him. And I said, what? He says, and he called me all kinds of bad words. And
oh, boy.
I said, well, you were following me. I didn't tell you to go between those two dunes, you dummy. And he got caught. He jammed his two doors between the two dunes. And I look underneath the car, and I said, wow, independent rear suspension. And that's how I learned his Pontiac Tempest. So that's the story, okay, why I knew his 61 Pontiac Tempest had independent rear suspension. So that's the rest of the story.
All right.
We pushed him off the dunes, got him going. Then the state police came and blocked off the exits because they were racing on the blacktop, too. The other guys with the
we
big...
used to race on the blacktop.
Right, and they blocked the entrance. We're writing everybody tickets. I said, oh, man, if I get a ticket, this will be curtains for me. My old man will pull my car, my plates. I'll be back on shoe leather. Oh, I got to get out of here. And I took my little VW bus, and I headed all the way down to Shandy's. And I pulled up on the beach, through his parking lot. The old man looked at me and says, hey, kid, what the hell you think you're doing? I said, I'm sorry, I'll leave and I'll come back later for lunch. And I got out of there, man. I blasted back to town.
Oh, boy.
And I was one of the few that got out without being written up. And that was a long time ago.
State sometimes used to write everybody up.
Maybe there's a state trooper listening who was there saying, I'm going to go get that guy right now.
I remember my buddy had a 48 Plymouth convertible.
Yeah.
And they put a Chrysler engine in the Spitfire.
Yeah.
No emergency brake. So the cop said, okay, put that emergency brake and let's see if this car will hold it. So what he did, he put his foot on the edge of the clutch, right?
Yep.
And when he get the gas, he popped the clutch because he started. He said, oh, that brake looks good. Oh, yeah, it works perfect. There's no such thing as emergency brake working. Well, it's all our dirty stories.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, those are days, though,
okay,
huh?
Rob. I'll let somebody go.
All right. Oh, thanks, Billy.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thanks for the call. Caller, thank you for holding.
Yeah, hi, Phil. Norm here.
Hey.
You just brought back a lot of memories because my mom had one of them 63 Tempest with the half of the 8-cylinder with a transaxle in the back.
So you remember that?
I remember that, and I had a Scout with a half of a 345.
Yep, the 4 cylinders were cutting it. Well, it was a V8.
Half of the 345 International.
Yep.
And I had a Scout for a little while. But you were talking about the slant sixes and the trucks.
Yep.
The 318s. My first Dodge truck was a 65. It actually was the Middleborough Fire Chief's truck, and it had the old 318 with the 2 bolts that went straight through the rocker cover.
Yeah. Boy, you're bringing back memory. I remember that. Sure.
Truck 318.
Right.
I have a 67 Barracuda my dad bought new, and it come with the 273 because that was the year they could have the 318, the later model, and he didn't want that because it had hydraulic lifters. He wanted the solid lifters because he always said it's better to air them than burn them.
Yeah. Geez, the 318, I remember the bolts through the valve cover to hold it down, yeah.
The truck, down with the truck 318 engines.
Yeah. You're bringing it back. But then they did away with that. I guess they went more with the generic car engine,
They went with I believe my dad told me the reason they went with the 318, they needed a little more power for the emissions because they were stealing some power with the emission controls that they started in 67.
Yeah, the 318s were a strong engine.
I have one of my dad's old cars. It's an old Dodge St. Regis. It has 60,000 miles, and even though the body was rotten at the end because it sat, I kept it because the motor has such low miles. And it's hard to find them V8s anymore. And I'm still looking for that late 50s, early 60s Dodge truck that I can take the 6-banger out and put the 318 in it.
Wow.
One of these days I'll stumble across one.
Yeah, 318s, we plowed with those for years, pickup trucks. They were very strong. You'd have to really abuse it to blow it up.
Well, they were brutal. In the Dodge trucks, I mean, we have Fords, we have GMs, and I have Dodges. But I grew up with Dodges because way back before my dad started his repair shop, he worked at Rodman Chrysler Plymouth. So he was a Chrysler guy. He loved Mopars. And the old Dodge Power Wagons, I remember them. Anything from that 225 slant 6 up to the 360s you would find in them, which was the truck engine.
Wow.
And it would look like the 318, but it just punched out to be 360s. And the power wagons, I had a couple of power wagons over the years, and that's what they came with, was with the 360s.
Yeah, 360s. Well, I saw a lot of Chryslers. They had 318s on some of our engines.
If you looked at them, they looked identical, 318, 340, 360.
Yeah, you couldn't tell by just looking at it, no.
No, exactly. All was just the Chrysler small. Even the 273 that I have in the Barracuda, it looks identical.
Yeah, the 440s, though, were different looking.
Yeah, 383 and 440s with a big block. The distributor was in the front instead of in the back.
Yeah, the 440, you could tell looking at that puppy was a different,
Yeah, exactly.
a different engine under the hood. But I worked on a lot of 318s, and I used a lot of 318s, and they were sure they burned fuel, they burned a lot of gas, but they were a very forgiving engine. If you ran it low on oil, couldn't run it without oil, but if you ran it low, it was fairly forgiving. I mean, you weren't doing the engine justice, or if you overheated it, you let it cool off, it came back usually.
Yeah, no, they were almost bulletproof.
Yeah, and in these new engines today, irregardless of what brand, you overheat it once, you're in a world of crap.
Oh, yeah, especially with aluminum heads, everything.
Oh, yeah. You're pulling them apart. We tell people, how long did you run it, with the needle, with the needle on the red running hot? Oh, not long, just to get off the highway. Yeah, guess what? The head's got to come off. It's warped. It's,
right.
It's a different world today. People, they just don't know. They lack the knowledge.
It's funny you say it's a different world, and I'd just like to get one more thing in.
Go ahead.
And I'll let you guys. But I was talking to some people. I'm going to be 57 this year. I'm still a young fella to some, and I'm a lot older than others. But I remember when you didn't see foreign cars, when American factories were humming, and people drove American cars. And if you've seen a foreign car, maybe it was a Fiat or an MG or a Triumph or a Mercedes or a Jaguar or a Sunbeam every now and then. But now the kids coming up, they grew up with Toyotas and Nissans and Hondas, and they think that's the norm, where years ago we knew what it was to see America running and humming and, when America was great. But that's just my 2 cents, and if you'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, it's not Well, I can use your segue, so to speak. I was reading here, does our trade affect our security? And I'm just for the record, I'm a free trader, fair trade free trader, okay? Yeah. But America, if a world war happened today, would we lose? America, we would probably lose if it happened. In a conventional war, I'm talking, now.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't make anything anymore, very little.
Yeah, we don't, but we do make a lot of arms. I mean, if there's one thing we still build, there's a lot of, guns and material. But let me give you an example, Norm. America won World War II because we could outproduce our enemies. Today, our national security is at risk because the raw materials, parts, and products used to defend us are being supplied by foreign nations. Foreign nations. In World War II, U.S. leads steel industry. Today, China leads steel industry. World War II, U.S. defense components made in America. Today, U.S. defense components are 80% foreign made. World War II, U.S. aircraft use domestic metals and parts. Today, U.S. aircraft use foreign metals and parts. World War II, U.S. supplied Allies American-made weapons. Today, U.S. depends on foreign nations for weapons technology. World War II, U.S. businesses growing. Today, U.S. business continuing to close. And there's a little synopsis of what's happening out there. So, Bill, I don't know, you got some conversations that are interrupting comms, so I got to let you go, Norm.
I'm sorry about that. Yep. I'm working on a job.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to deter from you. Okay, thanks.
I'll see you later, Ralph.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Thanks for the call. We've got a caller here. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
Oh, not bad. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The other day I was sitting in the parking lot of the New Bedford Medical Association. You know where that is, on Allen Street.
Yes.
And I said to my wife, this used to be something before it became the New Bedford Medical Association. And she said, another doctor's office? And I said, I don't think so. I think this was Ralph's used cars.
Actually, it used to be Ralph's Auto Sales, correct. Right at the corner, Oak and Allen Street, correct?
Right.
Yep.
And she said, nah, couldn't be. So I said, yes.
That's where we started. That's correct. 1959.
Right, that's where you started.
1959.
And I said to her, well, I want to find out. And she went, how? I said, I want to call Ralph.
Yeah, my dad started there in 1959 when he left Shockey Tire and Rubber.
Right. And I remember, because it was right down the street from the parking lot at St. Luke's.
Correct. And I remember that parking lot across the street from St. Luke's was just a wooded lot.
Right.
As a kid, we used to play in it. That was one of our little playgrounds that was taken away from us with development.
So I said, this was Ralph's used cars. But, she said, I can't remember that, but you got to figure that in those days she was at the other end of the city on the Cushing Avenue, way up near.
Well, in them days, too, when we were young, the north end was like a foreign country. And the south end was like if you were from the north end, the south end was like a foreign country. So,
right.
And, until you got a license and started to get around more.
But, so I was right.
Yep.
And, it's like when you go somewhere and you're sitting in a parking lot, for instance, and you're trying to remember what was there before, because many things have changed.
Yes. Many things have changed in life.
I've got one for you. This morning I was on the way to a local store, and I saw a car hit the side of a truck.
Huh.
Guess who won?
The truck.
Yep, the whole front end of the car. The car was totaled, because when I came back, there was a tow truck picking it up.
Huh.
I mean, the driver's side wheel collapsed. The bumper was all over the road.
Yeah, well, they're made for one-way shots for the most part.
Yeah.
They take a good enough, the smallest
and the
cars.
truck just kind of moved over so people could pass.
Yeah.
And, I didn't bother to see, I wasn't close enough to see if anybody was at fault or if it was a genuine accident.
Huh.
But that doesn't matter. Because my wife was with me, and I said to her, look at that. That car's totaled. And she went, how come the tire collapsed? I said, because they're built out of plastic nowadays.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And, that car will probably be repaired at somewhere, and somebody else gets stuck with it if they're not careful.
Yeah, I saw a good accident. Two cars collided on, and that's a bad intersection. Why they don't spend a little money for traffic paint? And traffic paint's still cheap, even at $60 a gallon, whatever it's going for. Is the corner of Rockdale Avenue and Hathaway Road. That's a very difficult corner. Right across from Lawrence's Nurseries.
Yeah.
And I was coming up Hathaway Road when everybody. Coming down and up Hathaway Road is a 45 mile an hour experience, give or take. Coming up heading towards Dartmouth, Riccardi's that way.
Yep.
Or either way, don't matter. But when I was coming up and I crossed over 140 and there was the traffic was backed up. There was a bad accident. Two cars had collided there. I guess one was pulling out, one was pulling in. I don't know what happened. I got there right after it happened, but they were both totaled. And,
sure.
They were. I mean, the front ends were wiped out for sure. And
I was surprised that they've never put a light at that corner.
Well, I'm not. You don't see improvements in traffic in our metropolitan area, or very marginal, or minimal ones. Traffic paint is cheap, and why they don't try to just corral and direct traffic in a more, just by putting lines in that give people guidance, because people are so many people are unconscious when they're driving.
People don't pay attention to lines.
Yeah. Well, but if lines would kind of guide them, in other words, people would pull over tight so other traffic can come up behind them and pass them, because that's going to happen. But if they're in lanes, they don't, they're not. It's just traffic paint's cheap, and why we don't spend more time and energy trying to make sure these intersections and lines are done. If you can't really come out with traffic improvements like lights, because they're $400, $500,000, $1 million, whatever, to put them in, and resources are tight. Well, paint's cheap, and and to get the guys out there and paint them now in the spring months, summer months. If they get any grant money, Obama money to put people to work. Oh, that's all been burned, but.
When I'm coming up the off ramp, when you go downtown from Route 195.
Yeah. Yes.
I always am careful about getting into the traffic, because more than once I have seen people cross from the outside lane to the left lane to turn. No signal lights, no brakes, no nothing. Just cross over 3 lanes.
On 195 to get on the Route 18 on-ramp?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
I mean,
and that's narrow part of the highway there, yeah.
Yeah, people pay no attention to lines or arrows or anything. They do what they want.
Well, they're on their phones. How can they, they're talking, so they're not going to give you the turn signal. They're holding the phone with one hand, and one hand's on the wheel.
Yeah, or holding a coffee in one hand and one hand's on the wheel.
Or a cigarette.
Or putting on makeup and one hand's on the wheel.
I'm sure you mean that for both. That's for both sexes, you mean that. You're not being sexist and just singling out females. You also mean males as well, I'm sure. Go ahead.
No, I mean females. I don't know many males who wear makeup.
You don't, huh? Okay. Yeah. Well, you might be surprised. A lot of metrosexuals out there. Yeah.
Well, that's neither here nor there. But the fact is that, these people are oblivious to, hey, it's all right, I can cross over. Yeah, okay. My favorite one is when you're following a car and you don't see any head of the driver because he's fishing around on a thwart or something.
Yeah.
And driving. And every once in a while you look up to see if he's still on the right side of the road.
Well, I used to enjoy driving my motorcycle, but boy, I'll tell you, these days you take your life in your hands.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, you take your life in your hands because, when I'm driving around, whether I'm on my bike or in a car, and you just see how people are just so disremoved from the function of driving safely.
Several years ago, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, a good friend of mine was riding a motorcycle up Route 6, headed towards Lincoln Park.
Yep.
And this guy pulled back out of a driveway. Didn't even stop.
Yeah.
And they picked him up like 80 feet down the road.
Yeah. It's crazy,
yeah.
Huh? Yeah. It's
he
nuts.
hit the rear end of the car. He went right over the car. Not the whole motorcycle. The motorcycle stopped. He kept going.
Well, it's one of the indicators of how, messed up our society has become. I mean, that's just one of the indicators. There are so many we can go by. You can look at the drug use. You can look at the drug use. You can look at the whole system, our education, the discipline. Everywhere you look, everywhere. I hate to say it. Everywhere you look, you see decline. My friend.
Yesterday I was listening to one of the news shows, and they had a guy out on college campuses asking questions about current political affairs. And my wife said, after we finished watching it, she said, I can't believe those people are that stupid and they're in college. I said, just think of how scary that is. They'll be able to vote.
No, that's the point. Yeah.
And they're that stupid.
Yeah.
She said, wow. I said, hey, I've told you this before, but you have to see it to believe it.
And you don't think...
They had one guy, they asked one guy, who in the political world do you admire the most? And the guy goes, Karl Marx.
Oh. Karl Marx, really?
Yeah, the
Karl Marx, he's the reason we've had more millions murdered in the name of communism and National Socialism, because in my mind there is no difference. But, communism is not... People think that when the Soviet Empire collapsed, that communism went away. Far from the truth.
No, it's still around.
Yeah, we've been moving more to a socialist model for sure, as well as Europe has already been there, most of Europe. And the Russians have repudiated it because they went down in it. Now, of course, the mob kind of runs Russia now. Same could be said for this country in many aspects. The elites who run it.
Yeah, well, Russia is not officially communist.
No, they're not
But
communist.
it's run by a guy who used to work for the Communist Party.
Well, yeah,
KGB.
he was. That's right. He was one of the leading administrators of the KGB. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
But it's a big cycle here going on. All I know is this: we don't get our act together. I don't know. You're going to see a very different country. You think it's different now? You have no idea of how much different it can be. It can become, unless we get, really start to get this country back, back together. And it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. It's going to be very painful. People think it's,
Oh, yeah, people think it's
going to be, the entertainment's going to continue.
Hop, skipping away. Yeah,
there's
got
gonna be-
another thing coming.
It's just like to have discipline in schools. It's going to be painful.
With discipline in school.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Think about. So
I
now
mean,
everybody's got rights. Everybody can do what they want to do.
Now that you can't officially expel anyone, for instance, what discipline is there?
Well,
You can move them around. What good does that do?
my friend, I got to let you go.
Have a good one.
We reap what we sow, and you can say that in a total agnostic way. We'll be back after the news. Thank you for listening. All About Cars will return with Ralph Medeiros in about 7-8 minutes. Hey, welcome back to the program All About Cars with Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center with my son Andrew. And my brother David's in the showroom today, so if you want to go by and look at some quality used cars or talk to him about a car you're looking for in the future, please do. We've got a caller here. Caller, very good afternoon to you. Are you there? It's your turn. Are you there, sir? Oh, ma'am. Hello? Okay, I'm going to have to let you go if you don't... I guess he thinks he's on hold here, still waiting. I'm going to give you a few seconds there to pick up the phone, if you're listening. Okay, well, caller's back. Thank you for the call. And you can give us a ring up here at 996-0500, 996-0500, and we can talk about whatever's on your mind. Oh, maybe this is him back. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Ralph.
Hi.
I have an '06 Subaru Forester that I love. It's been a great car.
Yeah.
About a month ago, leaving my driveway, there was this really loud scraping noise coming from my front right wheel well, tire, rim. Wasn't sure what it was. Very, very loud. My neighbor yelled over the fence, "Oh, it's probably one of your brake calipers or something." My husband and I went back and forth, trying to get rid of the sound. We figured something was stuck in there. We were lucky. We only live a couple of blocks from a brake and muffler place, so we brought it up there. And, of course, when the technician got in the car and drove it around, it was gone. No noise, nothing. So that was a month ago. Everything's been fine. Now, about a week ago, every time I'd make a sharp left turn, I'd hear a very slight scraping noise, very slight. It went away, but you also would smell like hot rubber, like maybe it's just that same area. So I wasn't sure what that could be.
How many miles in this vehicle?
70. I don't know, about 75,000 maybe.
Okay, and you haven't had brakes worked on recently, or it's been a while?
Well, I've made regular maintenance work. Yeah, I've had, but this is just. I mean, like I said, it's fine right now.
Yeah,
but I don't know what with something coming and going like that.
Well, you could have several things happening there. That slight scraping noise you hear making a hard turn could be your rotor hitting your backing plate.
Rotor hitting the backing plate.
Yeah, just a little bit, just to give it that little. You'll hear it come and go.
Okay,
like
yeah,
a
because
whop
there's
in
no
a
pulling
record.
on the brakes or anything. The brakes seem fine. There's no pulling one way or the other.
Well, they're known to rust and sometimes get out of place and hit the side of the road, or just touch it a little bit and you get that scraping.
Oh, okay.
That can be easily adjusted out. As far as the brake problem, it sounds like you may be having a caliper starting to go on you.
Okay, yeah.
We could test that and tell you, but
yeah, I might bring it in.
I could tell you that, but that wouldn't be overly surprising. you know.
Yeah. With the miles on it.
Well,
So
we
it
deal with
could
it a
be-
lot.
So it could be either what would you call it? A rotor hitting a
Backing plate.
A backing plate.
But that little scrape noise you hear.
Yeah,
That little
right.
scraping. And we'd have to check the overall tightness of the front end. I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of maintenance you've had. If you
I've
know,
had regular maintenance, you know.
well, if they,
But-
you know, really check the suspension and make sure
Right.
everything's tight.
Right, I should bring
and
it into you.
braking, the caliper, you're smelling rubber. It's a sign of a caliper dragging.
Okay.
You know, as a possibility. You know.
I think my husband thought that might be it too, but
Yeah, I mean that's if in a break, and if you get out, and if that happens again, you get out and you go to that part of the car, and you put your hand. I'm not saying touch it, but if you touch the rim, and it's hot, and it's drawing the heat away from the brake rotor.
my husband did say that he touched the tire itself and he said it was warm.
Yeah, well, the tire will get warm depending on how many miles it's been driven. That's
Yeah,
you know,
even,
the normal.
Even the side of it.
The rim will draw. What happens is
The rim will warm it up.
Your rim, right? What happens is your brakes generate tremendous amount of heat.
Mm-hmm.
The brake rotor or drum, if it has a drum, in this case it's a rotor.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the rotors, the heat is usually transferred to the hub to the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
and the wheel dissipates it. That's why a lot of cars
okay.
aluminum rims, and they help dissipate.
Oh,
the
okay.
extra
Well,
heat.
that maybe I should bring. And one really quick. This might sound kind of a silly question. Getting into my car the other day, I used my remote to unlock it, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
And I figured, I need a new battery.
Yep.
Okay, but I used my key to get in the car, and then when I went to put the radio on, no radio. No, it didn't even have a display. Nothing. Now, the radio came back on maybe after half an hour, and now my remote works. Is there any connection between the two?
Whoa.
Like,
That's a Twilight Zone question. You're okay. So you use your remote, it didn't work. You used your key, you got in the car started.
Yeah.
But your radio wasn't performing well.
It wasn't working at all.
At all.
Nothing. No display on the panel. Nothing.
So it's dead.
It was dead. But half an hour later, all of a sudden my radio's working, and now my remote works.
But were you driving the car when it
Yes.
was? So the radio just went on.
Yes.
Well, you might have a bad, maybe possibly your ignition switch didn't turn on the accessory side of the circuitry, or a bad ground to the radio, or you know, you have to.
But there would be a connection between that and the remote. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, it could be in the sense that the remote. In other words, your remote probably did what it should do. It said,
yeah, it beeped. I could hear it beeping, but nothing. It wouldn't. You know what I mean? The remote.
What beeped?
But you know when the. No, I'm sorry, it didn't. But when I was hitting the remote, there was no beep. I'm sorry.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
that the car would beep.
Well, because if the car would beep saying when you hit the remote says, "Where are you?" and the car sometimes beeps and says,
yes.
"Here I am."
There was no beep. There was nothing.
All right. So what happened probably is your remote was okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the car, the circuit that is supposed to receive that
Mm-hmm.
signal, and the reply is usually a chirp or your lights flash,
Yep.
and it didn't do that.
It didn't do that.
So you might have something to do with a circuit there, a ground, a bad connection. Where do you live? New Bedford, Fairhaven?
Mm-hmm. North End. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I just asked that because people here down on Sconner Connect or the south end of New Bedford who have more sea air and, you know, connections and little mystery things like that.
They would be connected, the fact that the radio was out at the same time?
Yeah, it could be very well in that same circuitry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
could be.
Well,
So, I mean, it's a mystery. But,
well, good to know. I mean, I'm due for an oil change. Maybe I'll give your place a call and bring it up.
yeah, well, just, you know, if you check us out first.
Okay.
See if we're real.
Yeah. No, well, I have been there once before. I won a free oil change from you, so I know you're great guys. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if you're in the north end, you're really close to us. So
I really am. Yeah.
take advantage of us.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the call.
Bye-bye.
A little bit of a workout there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, call. I'm sorry. Are you there?
Yes,
Hi.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Gotcha.
Ralph, I'd like you to talk to me about SUVs and where we are today. I'm driving a GMC Envoy.
Okay.
It's a 2006.
Okay.
And every few weeks, something, unfortunately, major seems to be going wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm pouring good money after bad. I want some advice on buying. I'm looking at a 2010 something. I want to know if I should be avoiding anything or if I should have my eyes peeled for particular brand and model. I like big. Envoy is a fairly big SUV.
Yeah.
So I don't want a RAV4, for example. That's
right.
too small.
So RAV, CVR, too small.
Yeah. And then I look at a Nissan Armada, and it looks like a Hummer.
Yeah, that's a big rig. Yeah.
And it doesn't have the best reputation in the world either.
No. Yeah, you're right. Well, in that class that you're in,
yes.
The Ford Explorers, the Jeep Grand Cherokees would be alternatives.
I owned a Jeep, and I liked it before I totaled it.
Yeah.
But I was wondering about the Ford Explorers. I've owned one of those, too, and I was pleased with it.
Yeah, Ford Explorers.
Of course, you got to look for lowest mileage and best price. But,
cleanliness, too. Cleanliness. The overall cleanliness of the machine. That's what when people come into shoppers, we seek out cleanliness of the vehicle, both the physical aspects, the mechanical aspects. There's a lot of things that have to be done. But if you like a medium size or a solid SUV today, today's medium size SUVs are considered large by today's nomenclature, by your standards. The cars are shrinking so fast that a Ford Explorer, Jeep Grand Cherokee is considered a large vehicle, which traditionally they're mid-size SUVs compared to Yukons and Suburbans and Escalades.
Has the Acadia grown in size?
The Acadia, yes, I think it has grown a bit. I can look up the specs on it. Yeah. Do you like?
I've never been to your shop, and I think I'd like to go there.
Consult with us. We can try to help you through and find a vehicle that meets your needs and budget.
And if you don't have what I want on the lot, can you find one for me, maybe?
Yeah, we do. We do that for folks all the time. A lot of people have done it many times with us for their family members themselves, and they know how we operate, and they'll say to us, "Hey, I'm looking for this car," and we both agree. We have an understanding, and in other words, we have some people come in and say, "I want a BMW 5 Series," and then we'll ask questions. Well, I'm not going to go out and buy a 5 Series, especially a 2012 or a 13, unless you're qualified and you're able to buy one of those vehicles. Because some people come in and frankly they can't get a stick of gum from a bank, let alone a loan.
Well, that's why I said 2010, because I get the feeling that I'm going to get a decent deal on a car that old.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not that old, but yeah, you get better value. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so long as you buy a clean one, you're not buying we call them snots in the business. You don't want to buy a snotty car,
No.
So,
no, I don't want to buy a snotty anyway.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I mean. Okay, so we don't like to buy snots, okay? So we try to buy cleanliness. And like your problems you're having with your Envoy, how many miles on it?
168, I think.
Oh, you're getting up there. I mean, it depends how the maintenance has been done, and things to abate these, minimize these expenses for you, and keep them under control. See, we try to follow kind of like a minimalist maintenance, okay, to do what's necessary for safety, but not blow your brains out and spending all kinds of money. We just had a client who was complaining to me about an experience they had. They took their car to a dealership, and they said the brakes were down to 10%, and the car needed rear stabilizer links. Then when the car was checked out, they weren't necessary. The brakes were perfectly fine, and the stabilizer links showed some age, but they were still doing their function. They didn't have to be replaced right now. You could probably ride through to next fall, then make a decision before going into winter. Things like that. So people get taken advantage of.
In the space of, I think, 3 months, I had to have the power steering pump replaced out front.
Yep.
I had to have the gas tank dropped and the piece replaced to shut off the light on the dash, because it was something to do with an evap unit that grew in its seriousness, and then there was something else major that, the car's beginning to fall apart. And I said, there goes the General Motors reputation. Yeah,
well, the power steering pump is not overly surprising. Power steering pumps work pretty hard, and you got to flush the fluid out of them. It's often neglected, and it's neglected by the owner of the vehicle. It's neglected by the people who maintain the vehicle for you to bring it to your attention that the oil is rancid and should be flushed, and it's usually overlooked by both consumer because they're not informed, and by the technician because they're just not aware or paying attention. So, yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of like going to your doctor and he sees something, he should check something, he doesn't check it, and it ends up killing you, you know, so.
What about timing? When should I consider trading this one in?
Well, if you're reaching, it sounds like you're reaching that point with the repairs, so I would say at the least we could start consulting to see what works for you. Maybe you have more time in your card. It depends on a lot of factors that you have to kind of firm up in your mind, and we can help you as far as the product side, and then you have to make a decision of what fits you, your budget, your timing, and you know, what works for you. And that's what we try to, you know, when you come in and see us, we're not trying to get you done and, you know, get a buy today. No, that's not our MO.
No.
A lot of places you go to, it's and you know.
And are we at a point right now where we start talking domestic versus foreign made?
Well, we can talk about that. Talk to myself, Andrew, and my brother David. They're very knowledgeable to help guide you and see. And foreign, there aren't too many other than you mentioned the Nissan larger SUV.
Yeah.
Toyota makes a larger one too. They tend to bring up more of a premium. You know, there are not as many of them out there either as compared to the domestics. The domestics have done a good job in SUVs and pretty much dominate it.
Yeah.
Although it's changing. It's fierce competition. Auto industry is one thing I've learned. One thing in this business is very competitive. At my level, at every level of the auto trades, it's a brutally competitive business. So, but I mean, and that's good for you as a consumer because it keeps prices in check.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the best thing is just come by or call. What to do is call the dealership, and if you and I can meet up, and call Tammy.
One of those jobs where it's called 9 to 5.
Okay.
Do you have any hours after 5?
Yeah, we're there to 6:30, 7 in the evenings. We're there to at least 6 in the evening. So just ring us up, and I'm usually there till late in the evening.
Okay. Well, that's what I'll do. Thanks for the advice, and
we'll try to work it out. And if you have a problem in your car, maybe we can just buy you time to let you, you know, plan it out properly.
Yeah. The light's on right now. I think I'm going to put some masking tape over it.
There you go. You know what? I wouldn't worry about the light until it comes time for a sticker.
Ironically, it went out for a long enough period of time that I had the sticker.
All right.
That's the only thing that went right this year.
Your car angel was guiding you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Very good afternoon to you, caller. Hello.
Good afternoon, Ralph. How you doing?
Good. Where you calling me from? The boiler room of the SS Salem there? Sound like you're way down there in a tunnel.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You want me to call you back?
No, go ahead. I got you now. You're coming in.
I'm happy to see you or hear you doing business like you are. I just had a bad experience. I'm a small business owner here in New Bedford, and I own a bar room, and I routinely recycle glass, plastic, and the like from our regular trash. It's downtown, and we're landlocked. So I went up to the transfer station, and I've been told now that commercial businesses from the city of New Bedford can't recycle glass, plastic, any of those things that we're trying to keep out of the landfill. It seems ridiculous.
Why? What's the logic of that? If we you know,
idea they seem to what from what I can tell, the property's been transferred to ABC. So now there's no city employees working there at all. It's all ABC personnel.
Okay.
So I never heard anything about it. I'm active in the community, always trying to stay out in front of things. But this seems, my alternative is putting it on the street corner in the downtown New Bedford on a Wednesday. Glass, broken bottles, all the like. Can you imagine the mayhem we're going to cause? But you know.
Yeah. So, but right now, do you have does the city pick up your trash now downtown?
They do.
Do they
pick up recycling as well?
They pick up recycling as well?
Yeah, the problem in downtown that a lot of people aren't aware of, and maybe they are, a lot of the buildings are landlocked. So they don't have the opportunity to have a dumpster or anything as such. So when you drive down there on a Wednesday, you'll see mountains of cardboard, all that being picked up for recycling.
Yep.
And it's a great service, believe me. But for years, I've been doing this just from a sense that the seagulls get it. It's always available for someone to use it as a weapon. I've never been comfortable with it.
Yep.
And I made an effort on Saturdays, maybe once, 2 times a month, going to the recycling purposely in my own vehicle, just to not have that done. And it seems I don't know.
Huh.
Just pull the trigger, and not on a gun, but on an investment in the property to put new floors into place and everything, trying to pick it up.
What I would do, I would call your city councilor.
Oh, I am.
I'd call your city council and consult with him or her or your councilor at large and bring them into the loop, and I'm sure they can work something out that works for you. Hopefully, I mean, I know there isn't much done for the business community as far as services other than the basic police and fire.
I thought of this today. I've been driving down Hawthorne Street this morning. I saw 4 or 5 beautiful properties, the older Victorians.
Yep.
And you need a philanthropist, an individual who buys a home in the city of New Bedford, one of these old antique houses. That person is a philanthropist, because there is no reason anyone would make those financial investments or the cost to keep the properties up at the expense of that it takes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The writing's on the wall, and every time I hear you on Saturday, the logic that you present, the something's going to come, and it's going to come here sooner than most places, because we're on the breach. You're on the breach right now with the
country.
The country, and if anything, I would say we're on the crest of the wave.
I agree with you. I agree. See, any thinking individual, irregardless of what political pole you hail from, poles, North Pole, South Pole, if you don't sense there's something wrong, then you're not really aware of your environment.
It's unbelievable.
And there is a sense there is something wrong. And after nearly 8 years, and, we could almost use a new index. I was thinking about it driving in. And I'm not being a wise guy. I'm not being facetious here. But we could use the beggar index or the panhandler index. Since the beginning of our new emperor's administration, Barack Obama, who I did support initially, I'll freely admit that. I was for him. I said, geez, maybe this will be the right change here. But unfortunately, we've been disappointed as much as I was with George Bush.
Yeah, he is not the individual problem.
No, but he hasn't.
As a person, I don't buy his policies, but he, from a perspective of being a good man and good American, yes. I don't agree with the policies. His predecessor, George W. Bush, he led us awry. It really made a lot of mistakes, and I
agree.
And now I'm so disillusioned.
Well, there is answers, though.
I'm ready for upheaval, and I don't care what the outcome is, because the current trajectory is not good.
Well, you see what's happening. Even the parties, who are the masters of keeping things in order, the Democratic Party, Republican Party now is getting a real workout, a real cleansing. Now, Bush is arrogant and everything else that you can say about the man, but one thing is he's creating a major change in that party. And
you mean Trump?
I say Bush. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Trump. I apologize. Trump. Excuse me.
I agree with you. And you know what? The outcome, I'm not sure what it's going to be. But frankly, let's get on the bull and ride.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Maybe it is time for a nationalist. I don't know. And to rebuild our country. And I think where he has not paid tribute or has not, to the powers to be, and they have no control over him.
Right.
And he's written his own ticket. He's looked at as a major threat. now, and I'm not advocating for him. I'm just saying this is the observations, and to see that.
The opportunity to be a benevolent leader, if he chooses it. If he chooses to kowtow or fall in line, or if he gets scared or threatened or his family gets threatened, which are all possible,
Probable.
Highly likely.
If it hasn't happened, well, it's already happened, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure, and God bless him.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up, sir. That's an interesting point, because that's what got Ross Perot out. Ross Perot withdrew the last...
I heard that. I wasn't sure, but I would believe it.
Yeah, you can call. I mean, there's other sources you can go for. If you're listening to the mainstream media for your news sources today, you're woefully uninformed today in today's marketplace. You really have to drill down to get news sources globally. If call me at my office, I'll be more than happy to share some sites with you and things. And just to, not that you just have to kind of go in here and draw your own conclusions. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to know all of it.
Well,
frankly, I don't want to know. But I see is...
We're going to save our country. We're going to save this country. We've really start really working hard, because it's going to be... We're heading to third world status very quickly. And we're broke. We're fifth...
I'm at the end. I'm in my fifth decade working on my sixth. And,
yeah,
you know,
well, we have a lot in common. But we're in a very, very precarious position now, and it's not really being discussed frankly. Trump has come out and said the country's broke. He had the tenacity, the Tedesco fortitude to come out and say it. You know, these other politicians, it's all in the image and show, and they hire the best consultants and speech writers and to influence you and me, and it's all for show. All for show.
I bought it for a long time.
Amen, brother. I'm with you. And
I thought I was doing the right thing every day.
Yep. Hey, listen, I agree with you.
When you start to second guess everything.
That's right.
And be so disillusioned.
Well, you know, you hearing you tell me this kind of gives me reassurance that I'm not the only one who's crazy. No, just hearing you say that to me, that your thoughts, we're on very similar frequencies, okay? And I'm
10 years military service, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, stay positive. We can save the republic, and everybody can have their opinion. But we're really drifting. And you know, I see things like, if you've studied history, the Roman Empire, where they took. You know, they started clipping silver coins, and they went to bronze and copper. And we've already done it in our country here. You know, the penny is now just a steel slag, copper-coated. You leave them out in the rain in a year that you can't even recognize it's a penny anymore. Our currency, now we're going to take Andrew Jackson off a $20 bill, and we're going to put another, you know, it's like everything's done for, you know, almost for cultural purposes now. Instead of, you know, it's... You know, you can see the debasement. Now, so we're taking our minds off our currency by putting someone else on it. In other words, it's all for show. It's all for keeping people occupied and their minds from what's really happening.
Give them bread and circus.
Well, and we're certainly getting a lot of that, aren't we?
Bread and circus. You got it.
Yeah. Well, call me at the shop. I'd be interested to talk to you.
Godspeed, buddy.
Call extension 100. Ask for Tammy now, and we can get together.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Good call. Interesting mind. Okay. Who's up next? Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi, Ralph. I bought some high-powered replacement headlight bulbs for my pickup truck, and I was kind of dismayed to read the package. I know I shouldn't be reading the package before I try to put them in, but anyways, I read the package, and it said that because they're so bright, the life of the lights will be greatly diminished.
Right,
and you know, I've heard the saying that the light that burns twice as bright burns half as long, but I thought they were talking about people there. I didn't think they were talking about Super Duty headlight bulbs. And so actually, after I found out how darn hard it was to get the damn lights out, I had to pull apart half the damn front end of the truck.
Right. Yeah, some of them are real pain. Yeah.
And then I got in there, and then I found out it was just a loose connection or a bad ground or something.
Yeah.
And I just tightened it up, and I says, well, to hell with it. Why am I going to go through this much aggravation on both sides of the truck, and to put in bulbs that cost almost twice as much, and are only going to last half the time? That's ridiculous.
And also make sure you're in compliance, because they could be brighter. And we talked about this, I think, last week, about headlights being too bright and blinding oncoming drivers because people are putting higher lums in there than that are or wattage combination. And
I've got a pickup truck there, and it's only 2-wheel drive, but they make them all so darn high now. Even with the 4-wheel drive, they make them so darn high that even with low beams on in plain bulbs, everybody thinks I have my high beams on anyway. So if I would have put in super bright bulbs, my God, I'm sure I could pull over for that.
Well, what to do is sometime pull up to a building, like a side of a brick building, white building, and see where and stand back about, I don't know, 50 feet or so, kind of like when you're in an inspection station, and see how your headlights hit the wall, hit the building on the dip beam, the low beam, and then hit the high beam and see how they set. And have them adjust or adjust them yourself on a twilight evening. Because I know the Volvo I'm driving now, a Volvo I just picked up, a 2001, the headlights are way off, and I've got to adjust them and to make it more easier to drive.
I went for not this year, but a couple of years ago. After I lowered the back of the truck, and I went for an inspection sticker shortly after that, and he said they were just fine. So I was afraid that when I lowered the back that I would raise the front and blind people, but it didn't seem to change it that much.
Yeah. Well, you got to be careful with the bulb, but it's the old story. When you see brighter. They do it with regular lamps or bulbs, to use a generic term. And I remember years ago I learned a lesson that, like the spotlights, you put a spotlight on, it was brighter, burned 120 volts, but it would burn out after 1,500 hours or 800 hours, not many hours. Then I started talking to some of the electrical guys, and I started buying 130-volt spotlights, and they lasted much, much longer. Of course, they were higher voltage. They didn't burn as bright. But the light lasted much longer. And I talked to some of the guys, says, well, that's what the fishing boats use. I said, really? He goes, yeah, when they use incandescents and spotlights. And he says, yeah, because the generators, the voltage flux, and they don't want to be climbing up a yard arm, replacing spots and all that in a wheelhouse. And so I learned a lesson. That was many years ago. So I started using 130 volts. Because they lasted. The filament, you're running a little higher resistance, the voltage, so the bulbs don't burn as bright unless you run them at 130. Then you got a bright light, and of course it lasts less long. That's life, my friend.
I just want to make a comment about politics, and I was watching watching the news, a few weeks back, and some people were complaining about Donald Trump, and the guy was on TV, and he was like, "It's my right to speak. I have my right. You can't stop me. It's my right. I'm going to say what I want." He says, "Well, what do you want to say?" He says, "I want to say that Donald Trump can't talk." And it was so hilarious that I was like, "Don't these people see the irony? The irony is that you're jumping up and down and screaming and saying you have the right to be heard, and you're right. And what you want to say is that Trump doesn't have the right to be heard." Don't these people understand what they're saying?
No, they don't. They truly don't.
No, I know it. Nobody on TV picked it up. None of the announcers picked it up. Yeah. None of the people in the audience picked it up. And obviously, these people with that opinion, my opinion is that you don't have the right to an opinion because, I don't know, you're not human, or I don't know what their argument was, but...
What I find perplexing is when I talk to a lot of Americans, younger Americans, under 40, under 30 in particular, in general, and when we talk geography, political politics, geopolitical politics, they're very, very shallow. I talk to a foreigner, and I'm much more entertained. We can have a much better conversation. It amazes me. I say, God Almighty, we're spending hundreds of billions in education, and these kids are dumb as rocks coming out. I got to let you go, though. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice talking to you, Ralph.
Bye-bye. Bye. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, hi, Ralph.
Hi.
Just kind of continuing in the same mode.
Yeah.
I have a quick question about vehicles, but
Go.
just a comment about Donald Trump and what has terrified not only the Republican elites, but also the Democrat elites. And I believe what it was is when he went on Alex Jones's internet TV show, Prison Planet TV, and had a 1-hour interview with Alex Jones. I do believe that was the point that brought complete and utter terror to the political elites.
Well, you could very well be right on that comment. That's a very interesting comment. I haven't had presented to me.
Interview, and his head guy, who won't say he's the head guy, but he's very much involved, Roger Stone, goes on Alex Jones' show at least every other week to update his audience on what's going on with the Trump campaign, and also to spearhead people going to Cleveland to possibly protest the stealing of the election.
Well, I think they're very cautious because, I guess Trump has been negotiating the higher-ups of his organization with the Republican elites to try to come to some compromise. And I think the Achilles heel here will be, or the fulcrum point here, will be who he picks for a VP, if they get to him or not, like they did Ronald Reagan when they put Bush in.
God help us if he picks a George H.W. Bush.
Oh, Jesus, I don't think that's like polar opposites.
Like our beloved Ronald Reagan got suckered into.
Well, that was the power elite coming in, my friend.
That's exactly right. You should hear Phyllis Schlafly's take on that convention when Reagan was nominated to be the Republican candidate, how the elite were absolutely enraged
and
they
didn't have control over
that he got the Phyllis Schlafly's take on it is amazing.
Yeah,
because the Kissingers and the
Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateralists, it's all.
They were infuriated that he was chosen, and unfortunately he capitulated and put Bush in as his VP.
Well, our country has been eviscerated of our industrial base. Now we have people, younger people, who are totally ignorant of what's going on in our country. And I don't care what side of the political pole you hail from. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, okay, fine. Come to the party. We agree to disagree. Oh, call back. I disconnected you.
No.
No, not you. Someone else was just on the line calling, and I'm apologizing to the caller.
Because I hear you're fine. I was just thinking.
Yeah, no, but the other call I just disconnected. Please call back. I apologize. I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I mean, right now, the idea of Nabisco and Carrier, all they're doing is just picking the remains of a dead carcass. I mean, that's what little is left of American manufacturing.
But,
they're taken away now.
But just to interrupt you, but can you blame people who have capital?
No.
And they say, you know what? It doesn't make sense to keep my capital here anymore.
No.
I'm going to move on.
Unions, regulation, and an
business attitude,
manufacturing mood here in America. The EPA, everything that
everything.
You have to subject yourself.
No, we're more concerned about bathrooms than business. Okay, we're not addressing the real issues here in our country. But money. People say, how can you say these guys moving these businesses out of the country? Well, let me tell you this: if you and I were both talking, and we just on a Saturday after the synagogue, and we're both Jewish in 1935 in Nazi Germany, and I said to you, I think it's time for me to start selling some of my assets here and get my ass out of here and maybe go to Switzerland or England or France. I don't like the feelings I'm seeing around here. And some of the sharper ones did. Those who were complacent didn't. And we all know the results there.
How about being a Christian in Lenin's Russia, 1922?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, the workers' paradise.
Christians were. We never talk about the genocide of Christians under Lenin and Stalin's Russia.
Yeah,
22 million Christians were murdered under that regime.
Yeah, the Jewish people thought they'd have some. A lot of Jewish people then were that supported the Bolsheviks were.
That's right.
They were Jewish descent, and they, in the end, were also. Well, I guess that's where the term, could be used of useful idiots that the communists use.
They are useful idiots because you see it today.
Yeah.
But my question on cars is, if an EMP hits,
yep,
what is the demarcation line for cars that will work and cars that will not work, or vehicles?
Whoa, that's a heavy question. That's
I've heard prior to 1979, vehicles will work. I had another person, a very knowledgeable guy, George here on the neck,
George
told me 86 or 88, and I just was interested what your
I think if you really
on that,
if in a doomsday situation, I think a good old points and condenser car.
So anything with a carburetor that has points,
you're going to probably have short of a pulse, electromagnetic pulse that's not caused by a nuclear explosion, which you happen to be within the range of the danger. You know what I'm saying, of the actual structural damage. But if the electromagnetic pulse stays, the skies stay charged for quite some time after an event like that. About the only vehicles that are going to run are going to be non-computerized cars with carburetors, diesels with manual injector pumps, not CPU-controlled systems, because unless they're hardened, like military vehicles will be shielded, like a lot of their, from RFI and all this stuff. They protect them so they don't have. They're not influenced by these.
So it's actually protection. It's not so much that they work off of satellites. It's more that
well, you can look up when they did experiments in the 50s where they set off nuclear explosions in the ionosphere.
When they were trying to blow a hole in the atmosphere?
Yes, they actually did. They did some, and they found out it wiped out communications in huge areas of the Pacific Ocean. When they did that, the electromagnetic pulse. So that's where they did a lot of studies, and the Russians were involved in that, and of course the Americans. So yeah, it's think of life now. What are they going to do if there's a major event?
I do. That's why
well, if there's a major event, and there's martial law, because there'll obviously be martial law because people will go nuts. They'll shut down your cell service. So you need another version of COM for COM, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna internet will go down because Obama had that regulation passed under the
incorporated.
Yeah, under the net neutralization. Net neutrality.
Yep.
So the FCC can come in and shut down the internet, and they'll have total control. Now,
and don't forget our water and sewer that they'll have to shut down as well.
Well, that would be more local control, so it depends on the communities you're in, and also depends on the event. There are many, many factors.
Right.
We got a little show of it when those idiots sign off, the brothers there, with the Boston bombing.
Right.
You got an event, you could see some of the,
You mean the one brother that came back from Kazakhstan after spending 6 months there? And the CIA after the Russians explained to the CIA that he was dirty,
right?
And he was studying with Al Qaeda in Kazakhstan, and all of a sudden we just let him back into America. And
the FSB
did. He blew up a number of people at a marathon.
Yeah, the FSB notified. That's right. The FSB, the new version of the KGB, notified our
CIA and FBI.
Yep. So
saying they were dirty.
Yep. So it makes you wonder.
Oh, we got it under control.
Yeah.
They're assets. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Could be looked upon, I guess. Yeah.
Just like you ever hear Tom Osman?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, a.k.a. Osama bin Laden.
Oh, that's the name he went under?
Yeah, when he was as a CIA asset back in the late 70s, 80s. Just Tom or Tim Osman.
Look at the carnage we've created.
And he was a CIA asset for many years.
Yeah, well, we'd used him against the Ruskies when we were when we were going to Afghanistan. It's like all this heroin, and I don't want to deter, and I got other callers, but I'm appalled at all this heroin coming to our country. And we were in Afghanistan. We spent trillions trillions in Afghanistan. And we didn't get rid of all the poppy fields. The Taliban come in. You know, talk about the Taliban and say all you want. They come in and they say, you're not going to grow opium anymore and because we're going to kill you. They stopped growing opium. And drug use went down because they have strict Sharia law. And I don't agree with that. But one thing's for certain, the heroin stopped flowing out of Afghanistan when they were in charge. We were there, you think we'd get rid of all these fields. But
in Afghanistan, when we went there, they controlled about 27% of the opium distribution throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's now 93%.
That's what I'm saying. Because
the American troops are protecting those opium fields.
Well, makes you wonder, doesn't it?
If you look at online, Geraldo Rivera at Camp Leatherneck, when he opens the gate, Geraldo Rivera in the opium fields of Afghanistan, it'll show you. He opens the gate to Camp Leatherneck, and as far as the eye can see are opium fields.
Yeah. Well, and we're worried about the opiates use in this country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have bought shares and knock on.
Take care of a lot of the problems with opium abuse in America.
But I think we made, I hate to sound Machiavellian here, but I think they say, you know what, we know opium's going to hit our shores in America, but we know more of it will go into Russia and affect the Russian people and their young people. So, because it's dirt cheap in Russia, because Afghanistan and Russia, they border each other, so the drug gets smuggled in there very easily. And I think these are the things they do in these war games. And I think they say, you know what, yeah, someone will hit American, that's the cost we'll bear. And,
well,
and I think these are geopolitical decisions.
When Britain overtook China, the first things the Brits did before they conquered China was they flooded the country with opium.
That's
and
correct.
You had the opium wars.
Yeah, you're informed.
And once they had a thoroughly addicted society, then they attacked China and overran it.
Yep, you're right.
And that's why the first thing Mao did, as despicable as a character as he was, is knowing full well that they were conquered because of opium addiction. He killed almost 22 million drug addicts, and anyone caught with opium was immediately killed.
Oh yeah, dealers and all that were
everything. He ridded the country of it because he knew that that's what caused their defeat to the Brits. And now we are a nation addicted.
Wow. On more than one substance. I thank you for the conversation. I'm going to grab one more call before the end of the program, but give me a call sometime at the shop.
What's the name of your place?
Ralph's Auto Center on Church Street, New Bedford, 998-1141. 998-1141. Extension 100 for Tammy, and she can track me down.
And you're Ralph, of course.
Yep.
And you're on Church Street.
Are you in New Bedford area?
I'm a Fairhaven guy. Yeah,
oh, okay.
I'm from Fairhaven. I'm down here on West Island. People know me. I call Ed Lambert all the time.
Okay, yeah. I know Ed, yeah.
Very involved with...
well, you should put a cesium isotope sensor out there to see how much Fukushima radiation is coming over.
It's hitting California right now.
Well, no, MIT detectors have picked it up in Cambridge. Yep. So it's up here. I gotta let you go. Thank you, though.
Take care, Ralph.
Yep. Bye. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're the last one.
I'm the last one?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how you doing, Ralph?
Good.
Hey, I bring my car in for the airbag situation, and they put a temporary fix on it. What does that mean?
Okay. You brought it to the dealer for a recall on the airbag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right to the Ford. Not where I bought the vehicle.
It don't matter. But, I mean, you took it to a Volkswagen dealer.
No. I took it to a Ford dealer.
Well, you drive a Ford then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you had a VW. Okay.
No problem. Okay. Anyway, what does that mean, a temporary fix?
Well, they'll have in the recall. What was the recall about on your Ford?
Okay, I got it right here. It says, oh boy, this is sent to you in accordance with the National Traffic.
Get right to the point, though, because we're running out of time.
Okay, in certain vehicles, the front side airbag inflator housing may rupture and deploy. In the deployment, oh boy, let me go real fast.
Yeah, all right. Well, it deploys, so it goes off inadvertently.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they probably sequestered it, shut it down, so until they get the part in to fix it.
Okay. Okay, so they temporarily...
Yeah, they might have shut it down so it doesn't go off arbitrarily if that's what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a massive problem with airbags right now, and like especially on Tanaka airbags out of Japan that are in many, many, many cars, and they've really hurt and killed several people. Another one just passed away, not your car, but... No,
it actually says it on here, the recall can be severe and deadly.
Okay, yours too. Okay, all right. Yeah, well...
Yeah, so they can't put the Tacatas in there no more then, right?
They can't put the what?
The Takata.
Oh no! The Takata, you will not. If you have one, you will not get one back. That's for sure. That company's in real problem. Millions of the cars, Hondas use them. I mean, there's a lot of Hondas that people refuse to drive them. It's just a massive problem. Another lady just died, I think, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in the country. I read the article. From the explosion of the airbag, the metal, the white metal from the housing hit her.
How fast does that come out anyway?
Oh, it comes out at you a couple hundred miles an hour.
Oh, Jesus Christ! If I get in the car, remind me to put on a helmet when I drive.
Okay.
Hey, Ralph,
see you later.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Folks, thanks for listening. Look us up, Ralph's Auto Center, north end of New Bedford, Church Street. Ralph Medeiros. Catch you next week. Thank you.